All right, we are live. Here we are. And today we're talking about why hard work isn't fixing your business. If you've just been grinding and you can't improve your business, you're not leveling up, you're not getting more customers, something's broken in your business, and you keep grinding and grinding and grinding and trying to fix it, but it just doesn't work. Well, maybe it's not because you have to work harder. I typically see that it's a systems problem. It's funny when we have problems, we want to almost will them to go away. So we attack them sometimes violently until we find a solution. But the real problem is at the root. It's almost like going to the doctor and saying, you know, I need some medicine. And then the doctor just writing you a prescription without actually diagnosing you. It's the same thing in business. Sometimes I think that if you're working so hard at something and you're not getting the result, then there's an underlying issue. There's something wrong with the systems. There's something wrong with your processes. Because if you do something well and you want to do something well at scale, you shouldn't have to work extremely hard to do it unless you're pressed for time, right? I always find that time becomes an issue, but again, that's where systems can mitigate some of that, and it can definitely lessen the effect that having little time to get things done has. Who is with me here? Is that you, John? Let's see. I have a comment here. Oh, it's Annette. Hey, hi, Annette. You got the notice that I went live? That's great. I'm going live today because I want to talk about that, and I want anybody to come up and ask questions. If you have a question about your cleaning business, or if you're thinking about starting any type of home service business and you want to ask questions about getting it up and running or getting your first clients, just shoot me a message and I'll have you up here and we could talk, or I could just answer your questions when you send them in. But it's funny, when we first start a business, we have aspirations to be able to go on vacation, to sleep in, and to do the things that we want to do without having to worry about the business. In other words, we want the business to run without us, right? We all want to build a business that doesn't require us day to day to operate the business. And the only way to do that is to, when you first start, do things that aren't scalable. It's counterintuitive. When you first start the business, you want to do everything yourself, all the roles. Why? Because before you can delegate and automate, you have to master. And so if you force yourself to do all the roles, the customer service, the sales, some of the fulfillment, even in my type of business, in remote cleaning, I don't do any of the fulfillment. But I'm not mad at somebody who jumps in and helps once in a while if it's needed. But I'm talking about doing all of the invoicing, all the day-to-day operations, all the customer service, the sales, everything on the back end, scheduling, booking, logistics, all these sorts of things, payroll, HR, everything. You do it yourself for about 6 to 12 weeks. You will become a master so quickly because you're forcing yourself to be. And then that is what enables you to become the teacher. You can't be the teacher until you become the master. And so when we start the business, we want to do everything ourselves because that's the fastest way to be able to hand it off to someone else. You master it, and then you go teach it to others. Or as you're mastering it, you're seeing what breaks and where it breaks, and that gives you a clue to how to automate it. And now that we have AI, perhaps some of your biggest challenges that take the most time or require the most processes, some of that can be automated with AI. But when you start, you have to do it all. You do. It's the only way to go. In fact, when I first started my remote cleaning business, I remember it well. I was answering the phone. I was even in the hospital. Some of you know this story. I was sick. I had to have emergency surgery to remove my entire colon. And I was in and out of the hospital, sometimes staying there for a week at a time. But the business was growing and I didn't have anyone to help. I was doing it myself. So I would answer all the calls and I would do everything right from my laptop in the hospital bed. And the business still continued to grow. And I became such a master of it because I had no other choice. I had to do every little thing. My wife helped a little bit, but then after a very short period of time, I knew the business inside and out. And then I was able to hire other people and make them effective. You see, a lot of people can go hire a virtual assistant and go get some people to help once they have cash flow. But if you don't set that person up for success, if you don't demonstrate mastery of whatever it is that they need to do, then how will they ever know if they're doing it right? And how will you ever know if they're doing it right? Well, you won't. So that's why goal number one, if you want to build a business that runs without you, you've got to master it yourself, and you have to force feed it to yourself. And the faster you do that, and the more reps that you take, the more calls you talk to, the more customers you talk to, the more jobs you fulfill, all these things, you start to become a master really, really quick. You can expedite the process by force feeding yourself. And then there comes a time where you'll start to burn out. And that will be your signal to go ahead and to delegate and automate. That's how it works. Does anybody have any questions? I can take questions. If you do, let me know. We have a mod here, and the mod will support your questions if you want. You're welcome to come up and chat with me and ask me any questions as well. I know some of you are used to seeing some of my content in the YouTube videos and sometimes in the shorts, but I come up here because I want to help and I want to give you as much value as I can. So if you see me here live, I'm usually focused on a topic that I want to talk about, something that might resonate with you, but I'm also here to interact. I'm here to help you. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to try to shed some light on this because every business owner isn't successful. Why aren't they successful? Usually, it's not hard work. Usually, that's not why. More often than not, people even know what to do, but they don't want to go through the pain. They know what it's going to take. They know the commitment it's going to take. They know they have to force feed themselves, but they just don't have the capacity to endure that pain long enough to get to the other side. So here we are. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're working so much and it doesn't fix your business, well, it means one of two things. You're in the wrong business, meaning you chose the wrong business model, or you need to rework your processes so that they continue to grow. There we go. I got Growth Hub 24. Hi. Does the model apply even in the UK? Absolutely. I have clients in the UK. I have students in the UK. The legalities of it work a little bit differently, but for the most part, the operational side of the business is exactly the same. In fact, we have a coaching call every Wednesday night for everybody in the program. And the guys from the UK often are on and interact, and they tell us about their experience in the UK. And they say that it sounds just operationally just like what it does here in the States. You essentially have somebody that wants to get their house cleaned or their office cleaned. You have somebody who wants to make money cleaning, and you just sort of match those two people together. And then the difference in what the customer pays you and you pay the cleaner is your profit. So if the customer pays you $200 to get their house cleaned and you pay the cleaner $60, $140 is yours. Does that make sense? Yes, that's a good question. It does apply in the UK. It really applies anywhere where anyone has housing. If there's apartments and homes where you live, then the model works. The only country I wouldn't know about would be China. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Any other questions you have while you got me? I can tell you what you should do for your first steps, and we can have a little interaction about that if you want. I'm interested in starting and having mentorship. Okay, got it. Well, if you go to my website, you have a ton of information on there. And if you just tune in, I don't know if you've been following me on YouTube here, but I really try to give all the information for free. In the private community, there's a little bit more hand-holding and there's mentorship. You have access to me. And I help you make sure that you're not stuck and that you keep going to the next level until you get the business where you want it to be. Nice thing about the service business here is that you can grow it very big, and you could also keep it nice and tight and small and still achieve a really nice income level. That can happen. You can make a lot of money doing this, but you can also make a decent amount of money and keep it small and not have, too much headaches. In anything in life that you want to grow and take big, there will be new and bigger problems that present themselves. But in this business, this is so straightforward. Somebody needs their house cleaned. Somebody wants to make money for cleaning. Put them together, and that's it. This is house cleaning. It's very, very simple. That's why I like home services. You don't need a license or a special certification. You don't need a college degree. This is cleaning. It's a basic life skill that so many people know how to do, and so many people love to get paid to do. So that's a great question. Yeah. So if you want a mentorship, I don't do a lot of one-on-one stuff. If I did, I would have to charge a lot of money for it. But in the program, you have access to the online community. And with that comes the weekly group coaching calls, and you have a direct line to me on the Discord server. So if you need answers in a timely fashion for something, or you get stuck, me and my team are always there. I would love to see somebody else in the UK do well. That would be awesome. All right. So we got a couple of people in here. And does anybody else have any questions? Those questions from the UK were great. I can talk to you about challenges. I could talk to you about what you should be doing in the beginning. Let's go ahead and start there. If you want to start a service business, benefit is that you don't have a lot of investment to make up front, because you're trading. In essence, when you work somewhere, most people are trading their time for money. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You watched 80%. Thank you. When you work somewhere, you're trading your time for money. And that's the model most people are used to. Even if you're on a fixed salary, you're still expected to show up to work and work every day, Monday through Friday, or whatever your work schedule is. You're expected to show up during that time and perform. So instead of paying you out per hour, they're saying, okay, well, let's just make it one fixed amount for the whole year. But you're still sometimes just getting paid for your time. This business model flips that on its head. With this business model, you get paid to sell other people's time, right? Instead of selling your time, you sell other people's time. So if when you want to grow the business, you're not increasing the amount of work on your plate. You're just taking more people and plugging them into your machine. Once you build a machine, it will literally print money for you. All you have to do is be very nice to people and pick up the phone when they call, answer their texts or their emails, and be quick. And the way that you do that without it ruining your life is that you hire a virtual assistant in another country for $5 to $7 an hour. And if you know what you're doing, you can get English speaking people. A lot of them are native English speakers because they speak English wherever they're located, and they do a phenomenal job. I started with one. Now I have 7 people, and I have people on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And so the native language is English, but on the island, there aren't many job opportunities. So the people there are clamoring to work for a U.S. company for $5, $6, $7 an hour. They're educated. They're incredibly talented people, but on the island, there's farming jobs and maybe if you want to open up a restaurant or something, but there's not much economic activity going on from a GDP standpoint. So they go online, and with the advent of the internet, they want to work for companies like mine, yours, and you can have amazing help. Right now, I really don't do anything during the day-to-day operations anymore. In fact, the girls run the entire business from the island of St. Lucia. And the only accent you'll ever hear is a very, very charming islander accent. And that's just a little bit sometimes. If you called my business, you wouldn't think or hear that anybody sounds foreign. You just wouldn't. They sound like normal people that are in your community. That's what you want. And let's talk about that for a minute too. I'll tell you something. I'll admit something. People are biased. People are prejudiced. And it sucks. But that's the way that the world is. And so instead of trying to fight that or force my ideologies on people, even though, I don't think it should matter what color someone is or what ethnicity they are. But, or if they're foreign, but some people care. And so what I do is I try to assimilate as much as possible. So for example, one of the girls, she has I guess you would say like an Islander type of name. And it's not a common name here in the States. So she goes by Mel, M-E-L. Why? Because it's easy. You could have picked Sarah. You could have picked Jane. You could have picked Stephanie. You could have picked any normal American name. And we tell them this is like your stage name, right? You come into this role and this is just your stage name for the role. That's it. But my point is that, anything that creates friction on the phone will lower your conversion rate. If somebody calls your business and they think they're talking to somebody in India or the Philippines or anywhere else, a lot of people will get turned off by that. And as a result, they'll subconsciously decide in their minds that they don't want to do business with you. And then you're swimming against the tide. So what you want to do is you want to find virtual assistants in a natively English-speaking environment that don't have a lot of opportunities close to them in proximity. They go online, they put on one of these, and boom, they can help run your business, or they can run the business for you. It's real. It happens every day. And today we brought in, let me do a check here. It looked like a slow day. We probably did 4,000 or 5,000 today in sales. I didn't touch a thing. I didn't speak to any customers. I didn't do anything but check the money, to be honest. All I did was count how much revenue we had. That's it. And if you're here online with me and you're thinking about starting a business, let me give you a little tip. You only need to focus on one thing: getting customers. That's it. You can go have a good time and make a cool logo and do all these other things. You can open your business bank account. You can get your corporation opened. You know what that means? All that means is you've spent money. If you're having a good time and you don't have customers, you're not an entrepreneur. You're just prenewing. So what I tell everybody is, when they say, I don't know what to start with, this is how it goes. Okay? You need an online presence so that people trust you. You need a website and you need a Google business profile. Once Google certifies you, it's a signal to the public that they can trust doing business with you. Then you need traffic to come. What do I mean by traffic? I either mean you have to run an advertisement, or you have to create content on social media or other places that make people aware of your business. The best thing to do is capture the demand that already exists. You know why I love cleaning service? There's thousands of people every day in your city looking for it. And where are they looking? On Google. Where does anybody look for anything anymore? Google, Yelp, maybe Thumbtack. Okay, so you know where they are. So if you have your Google business profile listed, guess what? Somebody searches house cleaning service near me. Best cleaning service in Seattle. You come up on the listing, just like as if you were searching for a pizza or a plumber. It's the same thing. And if you have 5 or more good reviews and nothing real bad going on, guess what? People pick up the phone and they call you. They call all the businesses. It's very, very simple. Home service businesses are easy because there are people looking for them all the time, all day long online. And all you have to do is come up in the search results. That's it. So that's the first thing I would focus on. So you need an online presence. You need traffic. You need a mechanism to convert that traffic into paying customers. That's done by the words and the pictures and the messaging on your website, and by the people that answer the phone when they talk to these prospective customers. And I don't care if somebody pays you $1 or $1 million. If they pay you $1, they're your customer. The only difference between a prospect and a customer is somebody who's paid you for your services or your products. That's it. Any other questions? I see a few more people have come online. I'm sure you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this. Why? Well, I've tried a lot of other businesses and they didn't go so well. And I'd like to think that it wasn't because I wasn't smart. I picked the wrong kind of business models. I picked the business models that seemed really interesting and cool that would take a long time to build and would need some funding. So I went off and I raised some money from investors. I ended up losing it all, but I learned a lot. And so when I went back to the drawing board this time, I thought to myself, I don't want to educate or have to convince someone that they need what I'm selling. I just want to start with something everybody buys all the time. It could have been lawn mowing. It could have been house cleaning. It could have been pest control, a number of things. But when you go into a business like that, getting customers is not the problem anymore. That actually becomes one of the easier parts because there's an overwhelming demand in every city. What the challenge then becomes is, how do I fulfill it at scale? If you're going to do 3 to 5 houses a day, you could make really good money. You could make $5,000, $6,000 a month in profit. No problem. And have 2 to 4 cleaners, a couple of part-time and a couple of full-time, you'll be rocking. But if you want to make 10, 15, 20, 30,000 a month, well, then you need to do it at more scale. You can't do 3 houses a day. You have to do 20 houses a day. And when you do 20 houses a day, you need more virtual assistants. And that's pretty much it. If you have a tight system. Growth Hub 24. Are you still on? Tell me your name, just so I know who you are. Here we go. Support Hispanic education. Hey, John, I'm noticing we're having a hard time closing jobs. How should I price my jobs? Feels like they tell me it's too expensive. Oh, okay. Are you in the program? Support Hispanic education. Have you been in the program before? I see this question here. I'm going to answer your question. So it's Jose. Okay. Jose, I was going to say, it sounds like I know who you are. All right. So Jose, this is a really good question. It's not a problem with the price. It's a problem with the value. It's a problem with the perceived value. Okay. Munash, I believe I pronounced that right, in Manchester. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, Jose, there's a value perception that goes on. Let's take a step back if we're really going to answer this question correctly. And what we need to do is we need to look at the buyer's journey. Okay. This person starts somewhere. They become problem aware. They say to themselves, this is dirty, or I'm having guests over and I want the place to look good, whatever it is, or I'm disabled and I can't clean this, whatever. There are so many reasons people pay for cleaning. Now we have to consider their situation and get them to believe. We need to instill belief that there's value in what we're selling. So if you tell somebody the price, that means, and they balk at it, 10% of the time, they just don't have the money. But 90% of the time, they don't trust you enough. You haven't built enough rapport, and you haven't instilled belief that your service is warranting that type of payment. That's what it is. It's very rarely that they don't have enough money. They see you as a commodity. They see someone who's selling cleaning service and they think cleaning service is cleaning service. It's your job to differentiate during the phone call. Exactly. So let me tell you how. Let me give you the tactics. Okay. I don't just want to give you answers. I want to tell you how to get there. Here's what you got to do. When you come to a phone call, let's call it the discovery call. Your goal is not to book the job. Don't think that way. Hey, John, what's happening? Your goal is not to book the job. What your job is to establish a connection, build rapport, and gain their trust. And the way that you do that, when somebody calls and says, can I get a quote? Is that how most people start a conversation with you? I called to get a quote. I'm shopping around. Do you hear those kinds of things, Jose? Tell me if that's what you hear. And when somebody says that to you, They're not calling to shop around and get quotes. No, nobody wants to call and shop around. They want to call and book service. They're telling you that because it's a defense mechanism. Yes. Okay. I see. They're telling you that because it's a signal to you that don't push me into anything until until we have a trust, till we build our trust here. That's what that means. But if you give them everything they're looking for, they'll absolutely book with you. Here's how you do it. When they ask for the quote, you say, while I'm doing the math on your quote, tell me, when was the last time you had your house cleaned? Is there anything around the house that needs special attention? Do you have any pets? What you need to do is you need to ask intelligent questions. Why? And notice what I did. I said, while I'm doing the math on your quote, that satisfies their little need to have the quote in their brain, and it gives you an opportunity to start probing. And if you ask the right questions and you get them to talk, they typically start to sell themselves and convince themselves. But don't just go to the quote. When you say, while I'm doing the math on your quote, tell me, and you start asking really intelligent questions. I made a video in the course and it says, these are the 15 questions that people would ask. Here's how to answer them. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It'll give you insight. But essentially what you're trying to do with your intelligent questions is peel layers back. You want to understand what their pain points are, what they want, and what they need. Did you have other cleaners coming before? Some people tell you these stuff and some people don't. But you have to ask a lot of questions to understand what's going on. Maybe they're upset because their cleaning crew before wasn't showing up on time. Maybe they're upset because they were doing all the cleaning themselves and they want their time back. But if you don't know the answer to that question, you haven't asked enough questions. If you go to give a quote and you don't deeply understand the customer's pain points, wants, and needs, then you're a commodity. And every second, this is key, every second and every minute they stay on the phone with you is a second and a minute they will not want to be on the phone with someone else. That's how you close in this business. You ask intelligent questions. You don't bullshit with people. You ask a basic question and then you pause and you get them talking. Does it need more of a standard clean, or does the place need a lot of love and you think it needs a deep clean? Tell me about it. Now, do you use the kitchen a lot? Do you cook a lot? Oh, you do. Okay. Is there a lot of grease buildup, like above, around the stove top? It gets on the knobs. It can get on the cabinets around. Is that happening? Oh, you don't cook a lot. Okay. No problem. Where do you spend the most time in the house? I mean, you start asking intelligent questions to better understand what's going on there and how to satisfy whatever their pain points and needs and wants are. I mean, remember, we talked about it. If they're moving in or moving out, it's easy. If they're moving out, do they care if the place is cleaned? No, they don't give a fuck. Why? They're leaving. What do they care about? What's the pain point? Chances are they put a security deposit down and the property manager is going to do a final walkthrough to assess how much they're going to get back. There's a pain point. So what do? I tell them, we have every property manager's checklist. I'm going to give you a quote based on the checklist to make sure you have the best chance to get your security deposit back. But before I say that, I set it up. How do I do that? Are you moving in or moving out? Yeah, I'm moving out. Oh, okay. Are you renting the place or do you own the place? I'm renting. Oh, okay. Is it from a private person or is it a property management company? It's a property management company. Okay, tell me which one. Why do you want to know which one? Oh, because I have all their checklists. I assume that you want to get your security deposit back, right? And all of a sudden they start saying, oh, this guy knows he fucking knows what I want. If it's a move in, it's the opposite, right? If they move in, they're worried about coming in contact with yucky things. The people who lived there before, their hair, their germs, whatever. So what do we focus on when we sell moving in cleans? Sanitization. We're going to come in there and sanitize that place like a hospital. Don't you worry. Here's the line I use. We're going to remove every sign and trace of the people that lived there before you. And we're going to sanitize every surface you touch. Oh, that's great. All right. That's the pain point. You know, I've had conversations with people and realized that the pain point was their parents were coming to visit and they were ashamed of how the house looks. So I reassured them that they won't have to worry about it. When mom and dad come to visit, you can just relax. We'll handle everything for you. Don't worry. You got to get to those points and understand what's driving them to substantiate the value of what you're selling before you go and quote. If you don't, you're a commodity. You're just quoting just like everybody else is. Exactly. Intelligent questions. Peel layers back. Probe. Right? And the VAs, yeah, I train them. Yeah. You know what's funny? Some of them are just as good as I am on the phone. They are. Because they have so many reps and they hear me do it. And I do the call training for them. I see a message here, Growth Hub 24. My fear is sales closer. I don't think I'm good with sales. I'd rather use a VA. Let me tell you something. Are you still on? I want to tell this to you. I want to make sure you're still on. Growth Hub 24, Munash. Don't worry about sales. You know why? You don't have to sell anything. Think of yourself as a guidance counselor. Your only job is to ask the right questions and answer questions. You don't try to persuade anybody. We don't want to do that. We want them to persuade themselves. Remember, they're calling you for service, right? They have an imminent need. You don't need to sell them anything. All you have to do is ask the right questions to peel the layers back to understand what it is that's troubling them. People aren't buying cleaning. When you have recurring cleaning service for somebody, they're not buying the cleaning. You're not selling cleaning. You're selling peace of mind. That's the difference. Recurring clients want promptness. They want a consistent schedule. They want to see the same people coming so they don't have to explain things over and over again. They want to be able to trust someone in their underwear drawer without stealing from them. That's peace of mind. Anybody can come in and clean. There's a difference. And when you make that clear to people, they pay more money. That's how this works. You are a guidance counselor. Don't try to sell anything to anybody. In fact, Munash, I challenge that my thesis would be that you would be better than most salespeople because salespeople like to run their mouths and talk. That's the exact thing you don't want to do. You want the customer or the prospect to talk. All you have to do is ask questions. When was the last time you had your house cleaned? Did they clean all the light fixtures? Oh. These are just simple questions, right? And I know you understand the point. You just guide people. If somebody calls and says, I'm selling my house. Okay. Ask some questions. Have you sold it already? Are you prepping it for pictures? Are you prepping it for people to come in and see the house and to maybe put an offer in? Depends which one they choose. If they say, yeah, I'm prepping it for pictures. Oh, let's do a standard clean. It's a surface level clean. It'll look great for pictures. Oh, you're prepping the place to have people come over to look at it so they can make you offers. We need to do a full deep clean because we're going to make the place smell good, feel good, look good. We're going to make it feel like home. All right. So it depends. You've got to peel the layers back. You just got to ask questions. And they're so easy. You don't really have to think about it too much. Just ask questions until they tell you what the problem is. That's it. How would you price commercial buildings? You know, I think I would price it very simply at 3 times my cost. So I see your question there, John. How would you price commercial buildings? It's easy. If you go there, typically what happens if a commercial building wants you to clean, they typically know how long whoever's been cleaning it takes and how many people they send. So if they tell me they send 3 people for 3 hours, that's 9 man hours. 9 person hours. If I'm paying $20 a person, that's $180. 9 times 20. My cost is 180. I'm multiplying that by 3, and that's my price. If they don't want to pay 3 times what I pay my cleaners, not worth my time. Maybe it's worth yours because you don't have a big business built up yet, but it's a great way to start. My lowest would go 2.5 times. And if the frequency is higher, it's less. So if they want you there every day, you would discount it. If they want you there twice a week, it'd be a little bit more expensive. If they want you once a month, it's a lot more expensive. So you want to estimate or guesstimate how much your cost on labor would be, and then multiply that by 3, and that's your price. That's the most simple way I can do it. Or if they don't, of course, you're welcome. If they don't know how long someone stays, sometimes maybe they come after hours, whatever, then the way that you do it is you walk through and assess to yourself, how long do I think this would take for 2 or 3 people or 1 person? And if you think it'll take them 5 hours, 5 hours times however much you pay them, $20 an hour, that's $100, charge $300. Any other questions? These are great questions. Yeah, no, I do. I definitely look out for the cleaners. You have to. In fact, when you onboard people, new people, or you interview them, you have to show them from the very first interaction you have with them that you have their back. You have to explain to them that the most important thing you can do is help them make a lot of money. That's how you make money. You want to get really good people out in the field that you're selling their time for a $38 upsell. Think about this. You go work somewhere. You make $20, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour. That's great. You make $50 an hour. That's a great wage. Now, let's say you have one cleaner out in the field for 8 hours, a normal workday. You're paying the cleaner $20. Fuck, you're paying the cleaner $25 an hour. The customers on average pay me $68 an hour. What's 68 minus 25? I think it's, 43? I'm making $43 an hour on their time. Let's say you have 2 cleaners out in the field for a normal 8-hour day. You're making $43 an hour on 2 people's time. That's really good. You're doing nothing. They're doing the work, and you're getting paid for organizing it and providing customer service. That's it. You don't have to do the cleaning. In fact, it doesn't work well if you do the cleaning. It makes your business get worse. If you sit at your command center all day and you take care of customers and you arrange schedules and you coordinate and you figure out how to make everybody show up on time, you can make $38 an hour on other people's time. So if you have 3 cleaners working 8 hours, you're making $43 an hour on each one of them every single hour. Now that's the gross profit. I don't want to mislead anybody. That's not your net profit. That's your gross profit. If you're spending money on advertising and other things, you subtract it from that. But I know a lot of cleaning business owners. I know a lot of them, and a lot of them run their business on referrals. And they work the channels, Facebook groups and Yelp and their Google business profile. They're constantly updating it. It's getting a lot of traffic. I mean, those people are building up to 10, 20, 30 consistent clients, and they don't have any money to spend on ads. They don't have to spend any money. The problem here, you wrote something here. This is from Growth Hub. The problem in Manchester is we have a lot of franchises that undercut the prices. No, that problem's in your head. That's not a real problem. That's not a real problem. Because I know, because Zubair said the same thing to me, and I proved him wrong. You need to change that mindset. If you deliver a great service, you will have customers. Trust me. If you can get people to connect with you and trust you, they will pay a little bit more for your service. And I know because there's other people that are very successful that I taught in the UK where you are. what's your range price for residential and Airbnb? So I price by square footage and the type of clean. So for example, if the house is 2,000 square feet and it's a deep clean, then I have a pricing sheet where I go. My pricing sheet shows in increments of 250 square feet, starting at 500 square feet, because that's usually the size of a studio. That's probably the smallest unit size that you'll encounter. So the pricing question is a more complicated question. And unfortunately, the pricing sheet is one thing that I only have in the community, in the course, because it's changing all the time. It's dynamic. So every time when I update it, everybody gets sent it. So I don't put it out in the public. Not because I'm gating it. It's just dynamic, and I don't want to put something out on a video that someone might see 3 years from now, and it will have the prices from 3 years ago. They'll get really mad at me. Anybody else have any questions? These are good questions. But the pricing is going to be based on what type of clean it is and how big it is, because that will how many people is required and how long it will take. But I'm telling you that if you hang on the phone with somebody and you spend 12, 13, 14 minutes with them and you ask them a lot of intelligent questions and they feel like you understand them, that you took the time to really understand their needs and you addressed them, they'll want to do business with you. A lot of time people call and they're just like, God, I really like this person. She really sounds trustworthy. And, like the other people are a little bit lower, but I really like her. I mean, that's all. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. All right. Any more questions? We're going on 42 minutes. I'll hang out a little bit longer. If anybody has questions, please put them in the chat. If you're thinking about starting a business, pick something that has incredible demand already and tap into the demand. Don't try to get clever. And I tried that already. Trust me. I tried it a bunch of times. Right? If it doesn't exist, it's probably not good. If there's demand for it, if you're like, oh, the market's saturated, oh, that's great. You know why? Because 90% of the service providers suck. Most of them don't know what they're doing. So if you come in and you just do the basics really well, like be kind, show up when you say you're going to show up, those things, you get so many customers, you'd be surprised. Most people's businesses aren't that great. How do I secure more commercial contracts? I've been cold calling and getting walkthroughs arranged. I've also been emailing. Anything else? So I do commercial, but only because we get a lot of calls for it. I didn't start doing commercial until the demand was there. I've never actively went and cold called any commercial places. So I to answer your question, yes, there is something else you should do. You're not doing the absolute number one best thing. I'm going to give you a nugget. Are you ready? You should be joining local business groups. A lot of them are free. Why? A lot of the members have office space. Go join the Chamber of Commerce. Go join up with people, other business people, like-minded people. I have a friend who grew a carpet cleaning business on Long Island. That's how he did it. He joined the Chamber of Commerce. He joined a couple of groups, business groups locally. A lot of them are free. And he had a ton of customers. You have to find strategic partners. The problem with your methodology, what you're doing now, is you're going one-to-one. That takes a long time. And if it's a key account, it's worth the time. If I was you, I'd be going to find commercial leasing agents or commercial brokers, and I'd be building a relationship with them. Why? Because they have 100 office buildings you could clean. They know 100 business owners they could introduce you to, but you only need to make a connection with one guy. So think one to many, not one to one. It slows you down. If I'm looking for commercial contracts, I'm looking for leasing agents. Awesome. That's great. That's great. I'm glad I could shed a little light. I have accounts with property management groups, dental office. Exactly. Exactly. Med spas. That's right. Am I missing any other key industries to target? No, I think you've got it right. If I was you, I would go to Google and I would type in best commercial leasing brokerages and then whatever city you're in. I would make a list of them on a Google sheet, and I would stop in and I would bring donuts and coffee, whatever. And I would come in with some cards and I would say, I found you guys online, and I know, Sarah Smith is the broker of record here. I would love to establish a relationship with you guys. I do XYZ, and your clients are the same. We have the same clients. We're complementary non-competitors. That's the word. That's the phrase. Complementary non-competitors. We serve the same people, but two different ways. Beautiful. That's the kind of relationship that brings in steady business. That's what you want. All right. So go knock on doors, but don't go to one. Go to one that can open up the floodgate to many. It's a great question. I don't think you're missing any key industries. No. And if you go to leasing agents and leasing brokers, they lease everybody. How are you pricing commercial cleans? Do you go there to measure? No. I don't go there to measure. I just think about how long I think the job will take and how many people it will take. And then I multiply that by $20 because I pay $20 an hour. And then I just multiply that by 3. I haven't heard you talk. Oh, I haven't had you talk about the exterior cleaning, window cleaning. Yeah, I don't offer that. I did buy a pressure washer because so many people were asking for patio cleanup. And that seemed to be it's easy money because the machine does the work. So I do have a pressure washer, and I will do garage floors and driveways. But then somebody has to carry the equipment, and if the equipment breaks, you have to service it. So that's why I'm not big on exterior. I like easy jobs. Give me jobs that I can find people to do, that I don't need any major equipment, that I don't need any weird major chemicals, that I don't have to climb up on a high ladder. I don't need a water source. Give me that. Give me the stuff that doesn't include that. Why? Because I can scale it much faster. The cleaning business in it of itself is the path of least resistance when it comes to home service businesses. That's why I started it. And to be honest with you, you can ask my wife, I got fired from 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs. I was doing some sales consulting for a company in Florida, and they would start at 5 a.m. on the West Coast, and I would wake up and I would be in their meeting at 5 a.m. And then the other company that I was working for on the West Coast would start at 8 a.m. and I would pretend like I had to go do some things, and I would go work at the other company from 8 a.m. to 11, and then I would switch back. Nobody knew. I had 2 jobs. This was during the pandemic. I imagine a lot of people were doing that. And I got fired in both jobs. And it was right when I bought this house. So I turned around and my wife said, what are we going to do? And I said, I'm going to start a cleaning business. And my wife said, but you don't even clean the house. You don't even know how to clean. And I said, yeah, because it doesn't matter. I'm going to go into an industry where I know there's thousands of people that want it every day. And I'm going to deliver a better customer experience than everybody else. That's all it was. That's all I did. All right, let's see. Got it. Thanks. Okay, good. Or do they tell you the square feet? So Mame, they do normally have the square feet, but again, if they had a previous cleaning team, ask them how many people came and how long did it take them? And then just reverse it and do the math. That's really the best way. And sometimes you could say pricing is subject to change. I think we can do a good job in this much time with this many people. If it requires more than that, I'll let you know. All right. Really good questions. Okay, good. And Mame, if you have another commercial one come up, send me a message in the Discord. Let's look at it together. Let's work through it together so you're more confident when you come deliver the price quote. All right? And sometimes you could even say, what were they charging you? I mean, if you really want, you could ask these questions. A lot of the time, you're dealing with a building manager and they're not so worried about things that you're worried about. They just want you to take it off their plate. When you ask questions and stuff, they think it's normal. All right, who's next? Okay, yeah, please share with me. What do you prefer, price per hour or flat rate? It depends on what's better for the customer. That's why I was saying you don't want to try to sell anybody anything. Like if somebody called, I'll give you an example, a use case. Somebody calls and says, we have 2 guest rooms. We never go in there and we never cook. So the kitchen is immaculate. I just want the bathrooms done and I want the floors cleaned. Like, oh, all right. So you don't want your whole house cleaned? No, not my whole house cleaned. Okay, well, flat rates out. The only way to do this is hourly. I'll send someone over. We have a minimum. Our minimum is $188. You can have up to 3 hours of cleaning. Every additional hour after is $68 per hour per cleaner. Okay, but you have to get the information from them first before you decide that. And you shouldn't decide that. The customer should. You should just guide them to the right answer. That's it. If you just be a really good guidance counselor, people will pull out their credit cards and pay you. Very, very simple. This is the path of least resistance. This is the easiest model. It's the most scalable model. And there's built-in demand. You can't ask for more. High margins, low overhead. Recurring. You get one customer, unless you die or you mess up, they're going to keep you. Nobody wants to change. I've had customers for years and I've changed the cleaners on them and they still stay. I've had some that have left. These are good questions. Is February slow in residential cleaning? January was starting off real slow. The first 20 days or so, I was a little bit nervous. I mean, we were still cranking, but it just wasn't the same. And in the last week to 10 days, it's gone gangbusters. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's seasonal. My wife thinks it is. I don't think it is. I don't know. I'll do some research and get back to you on that. The slowest months are usually like December, beginning of January, I think, is what I've seen. And August for me, because I'm in Las Vegas and it's hot here. I think a lot of people go away. I have a lot of clients that have other places they go when it gets hot in the desert. And so when they do that, I'm inevitably, I don't have as much business, but then I have a lot of Airbnb business. If anybody's ever thought about the cleaning business, residential, and you don't know about Airbnb cleaning, boy, are you missing out on a gold mine. Airbnb cleaning is one of the easiest, most profitable services I've ever seen. I asked because we barely get bookings this month. Oh, that'll change. That'll change. It's only the 2nd today. You'll pick up for sure. And this is why it's really important to keep working on Google, to keep trying to get Google to rank you, because once you break through and people see you on the map, you definitely get a lot of calls no matter what. That's the thing about cleaning. Like there could be a need and then somebody could, make a mess and then all of a sudden there's a need, but there wasn't before. Who else has questions? Mame, these are great questions. Mame is in our group. She's a member and she probably in the beginning wasn't even sure if she could do it. Now she has her own business. So where do we find Airbnb? Okay, good. Yep. We haven't gotten, okay, so no problem. So where do you find Airbnb? Every city has a local Airbnb host community. Go to meetup.com, go on Facebook. You'll find those communities. Trust me, and they meet up once a month or every couple of weeks, and they share what's working well. A lot of them advocate for change in policy too. Like I know here in Vegas, you need a license for it. And so I've infiltrated some of these groups and have gotten a lot of clients, right? Again, the same one to many. You want to go to the source. If there's a meetup group for Airbnb owners, you want to be in it. You want to sponsor it. And you don't want to go in there pitching everybody. You just want to go in there quietly and make friends. And then if somebody asks you, oh, what do? You give them a business card. The Discord is for members. So if you want to join, you can. The lowest entry point now is $9.97. And I think it's underpriced. It's going to be $19.97 soon, but at the moment it is $9.97. It was $6.97, but I just had too much demand. I don't have enough of me to service as many people. So I keep raising the price and giving more individualized attention. You can find it on johnmargalite.com if you want to see details. There's a short video that I made and it explains everything. I've really streamlined the process a lot. So in the first 6 weeks, you really have it down and nailed. I was having problems. Some people there took weeks to get their Google Business Profile approved. I figured out how to get it approved right away now. So, if you're interested, if you need any help, you can still just shoot me a DM on YouTube. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer questions. If you want me to make a video on something, just make a request. I'm more than happy to make a video for you. But understand this, and I'll leave you with this thought. If you're working harder and your business isn't doing better, then you're doing the wrong things because it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't. And all of the work should be able to have somebody else do it for you. Not in the beginning. Mastery first. But you should be able to get everybody to do it. Not everybody, but other people for you. And you should have plenty of people that could do it. That's a sign of a great business. Can I leave for the day and this business not miss a beat? Who else has questions? I'll post a comment. If you just go to johnmargalite.com, if the mod will show it, johnmargalite.com, you have resources there. All right. And again, any requests, anything, you just let me know. I'll make a video for you. We're coming up at the top of the hour now. It's 6:48 p.m. here. I do wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, not because I have to for work, but because I love getting out of the house before the sun comes up. And I'll tell you what, leaving the gym before the sun comes up, now that's an experience. If you do that on a daily basis, I don't do it on a daily basis, but if I did, it would feel good every day. Sometimes I get there early enough and I'm leaving the gym while it's still dark outside. It feels great. All right. And if you're considering, yeah, I know 4 a.m. is tough. If you're considering starting a business and you have a problem that you want to get fixed in your life, you want to be in better shape, or you want to, whatever it is that you want to achieve besides making money in career and business, it's so crazy what going to the gym or just exercising teaches you about business. You know what it is? It's that you don't achieve business by taking giant leaps and bounds. You do it by showing up and working hard and trying every single day in little increments. But when you work out and you do the same thing, you can visibly see the difference after 28, 30, 45 days. And it's the same thing in business, except you see it in your bank account. But you will see it. You will. You will. It's about small, consistent effort daily. It's not about a home run swing. I tried plenty of those. And I'm not Elon Musk, unfortunately. I learned the hard way. But I am good at running a cleaning service. All right? I took his class and he's already changing. Oh, thank you, Mame. I appreciate that. That's a really nice comment. And I'm really happy that I've had some influence on you in that way. I know your confidence has grown big time. It's been really working with you it's my pleasure, not yours. And we're just getting started. We're just getting started. All right. All right. We are at the hour mark. I promised the mod I wouldn't make it too long. I know he's itching to clip this, and I had zero confidence. After John's class, I gained so much knowledge. And it makes me, that's what it's all about. You know, I'll share one more thing and then I'll sign off. If you try to start a business, even if you fail, but you really, really tried hard and you went through it and you actually ran the business and got customers and you had that taste of what it's like, your confidence will go to a whole new level. Everything that you do in life, you'll have a different lens. You'll be looking through a different lens. You'll be tougher. You'll understand things better. It's weird. You start to become like somewhat of a lawyer when you do it long enough. Why? Because there are legal things that you have to know. And then when you figure them out and you gain more knowledge, you make more money. I think Warren Buffett said, the more you learn, the more you earn. That's not me. That's Warren Buffett. All right. So I'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to be on every day, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to come on at noon. I might come back on in the evening. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the best time. Normally I'm tired during this time, but you have given me energy. I see the people in the live. And it just makes me want to help and give more time. So I will be on every day, Monday through Friday. And I'll be here to answer questions and be here sharing thoughts. We'll do some reactions to other things going on. I've decided to stay away from politics. I'm just not going to touch it here. I just want to help everybody. I don't want to alienate half of you. There's no reason to do that. All right. Thanks for coming. I got a private message here in the chat. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I'll announce the time. I'll see you guys then. Thanks so much.